There's no need to get active. There's no excuses. I've heard them 1,000 times before. I mean, that really is bonkers. However, that's far from the full story. People just don't want to do it. The fitness industry's never been bigger. It's never been more powerful. But despite that, the world's never been fatter. It's never been less fit, and it's never been more unhealthy. So what is going on? To answer that, we first need to go back 10,000 to 300,000 years ago as Homo sapiens, and possibly even further to 2 million years as Homo erectus. During this time we were predominantly hunter-gatherers. We spent most of our time either hunting for food or foraging for it. Now, our bodies were very much designed for this purpose, but what that could mean is famine and feast, because when we were out hunting, it wasn't guaranteed that we were going to catch anything, and we could go as long as 2, 3, 4 days without eating at all. And then when we did eat, well, we took the opportunity with both hands and we ate as much as we could, because not only were we going to be pretty hungry at that point, but we really didn't know where the next meal was going to come from. Additionally, there was no way that we could store food. There's no refrigerators, anything like that, obviously. So our refrigerators, our storage areas, was basically our stomachs. We would take that opportunity and cram the food in. As well as that, once we'd finished eating, we'd take the opportunity to rest, because we'd already expended a lot of energy. So the last thing we'd really want to do is expend any more. All of this was an excellent survival strategy. If we bring this now to the modern day and just think about some of the things we do instinctively, not a lot's actually changed, because given the chance, we'll still eat too much, and given the chance, we'll still exercise too little and try as best as we can to conserve energy. That's because it's hardwired into our DNA. It's really who we are. Is it any wonder then that most people today still eat too much and move too little? I think who we are as a species and where we've evolved from, this is at the very core of the problem today of why people shun fitness and why people shun dieting. I think that basically we're like this ancient body in a modern world. We're like a square peg in a round hole, and it just doesn't fit. The modern world for many of us now, it's a sedentary affair. There's no need to get active, and we don't have an enforced restricted diet, and for these reasons we have to actively seek out exercise, and we have to seek out a way to diet and restrict calories. Now, people aren't stupid. They know it's important to do these things, because if they want a healthy lifestyle and to stay fit as they get older, this is almost a necessity. And one of the most common ways people look to actually improve the fitness and health is through gym memberships. As far as the fitness industry is concerned, it's actually going pretty well. If we take America as an example, there are now 65 million people with an active gym membership. Now that's a lot. If you go back just 20 years, that figure was 32 million. However, that's far from the full story. Despite record high memberships in the US and a lot of other countries around the world too, the fact is that of these 65 million people, only 20% go regularly. That means 13 million people with active memberships, which makes less than 5% of the entire American population. If we dig deeper into these figures, things don't get any better, they actually get worse, because there's a substantial number of this 5% that only go either once a week or once a month. That leaves, say, 2-3% at best that have actually got an active gym membership that they're currently using. That's a great business model for the gyms in the fitness industry, but it's a terrible model for your success. So what's actually going on, and why do so many people drop out, and usually very quickly? Well, the answer to that is that the kind of classes, the kind of facilities and activities that the fitness industry and gyms offer are essentially, they're boring. They're just not fun. Most people don't like using exercise bikes, they don't like going on the treadmills, they don't like spin classes, they don't like aerobics, they don't like workouts, and they sure as hell hate HIIT classes. A lot of these activities I find boring too, and I'm not surprised people give up. I aim part of the blame for this failure at the door of not only the fitness industry, but for a small percentage of people that really do enjoy exercise. And these are the people telling the majority how they should exercise, what they should do, the best methods, but they take no account of really who we are and the fact that most people just don't want to do it. I honestly think that the fitness industry need to do better, and also the people working in it, the fitness instructors, the people running gyms, they need to do better as well. And they need to recognise that the majority of people are not really into either exercising or restricting the diets. This is something that's been hardwired into our DNA, as I talked about earlier. Now, there's probably a few of you shouting at the screen saying, well, yeah, people can do really well, they lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds in a short space of time, or they get really buffed up. And I accept that, there's a lot of truth in that, but the reason for that is generally these are people that achieve their short-term goals, and a lot of the fitness industry is geared around achieving short-term goals. You know, you want to get in good shape for maybe going to the beach, getting married, something like that. But often these people, once they've got to where they want to be for this specific time in their life, that's an end to it. The weights are down, their running shoes are off, and they're back on the sofa, and that's it. From my experience, I can tell you that most people attending gyms, even the most stalwart and interested person in gym life, after 2-3 years they've almost certainly dropped out, leaving a small percentage. But even worse than this, people my age, in the 60s, yes, I know I look old, the drop off, it's absolutely horrendous, even for over 40s and 50s. And really, once you get to 50, 60, you need to be exercising more, not less. That's because we lose a lot of flexibility, we lose a lot of coordination, we lose strength, we lose bone density, and all these things as you get older can really come to bite you hard if you've not taken care of it. I actually have very little faith in the fitness industry to put any of this right, because I think they've shown over the last 20-30 years that that's unlikely. So what's the answer? I think the answer is to revert to something that's actually accessible, that everyone can do, that's easy, something that also feels natural. Now, it's not by coincidence I've come to my local park, because I'm here 3 times a week, and what I'm going to suggest you do now is something that I do as a matter of course, and that is walking. Yes folks, all you have to do, put your shoes on, get yourselves outside and walk for 20 minutes a day, and that's it. You don't even have to build the sweat up. Now that's something just about anyone can do. I choose to do it 3 times a week for 50 minutes. If you want to do 5 times a week for 30 minutes, it doesn't really matter. But the magic number is actually 150 minutes a week. If you can hit that, the benefits, they're frankly staggering, they really are. I'm going to put them on screen now and you have a look and you tell me, what do you think? I'm sure you'll agree that's one hell of a lot of benefit for very little effort. But if you're still not convinced, how about if I tell you that just by walking for 20 minutes a day, you'll reduce your risk mortality in any given year by a staggering 51%. I mean, that really is bonkers. If you can't make that 20 minutes a day, don't panic about it. Do the best you can. But please, no excuses. I've heard them 1,000 times before. I really have. Just do it. Get your shoes on, get outside and get walking. It will make a world of difference. And I promise you, the hardest part is going to be taking those few steps on the first day. After that, it'll be all plain sailing. That's all for today, but let me know how you get on, and I'll be back in the next video to give you a few tips and tricks to help you keep going, and just as importantly, to build on what you've already started. Take care.